To call to order the City Council meeting for the City of Wheat Ridge, Colorado for April the 22nd, 2024, Earth Day. And if you would please rise as you are able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Would the clerk please call the roll of the members?
Jenny Snell,
Present.
Scott Ohm,
Here.
Rachel Holteen,
Present.
Janice Hoppy, Amanda Weaver,
Here.
Corey Stites,
Here.
Dan Larson,
Here.
Leah Dozeman. You have a quorum.
Okay, and Councilor Hoppy and Councilor Dozeman informed us that they were not going to be able to make it tonight. We have some minutes and notes for approval. Councilors, in your packet, you have study session notes for February 5th, March 18th, April the 1st, and special study session notes of April the 8th, City Council meeting minutes for March the 25th, April the 8th, and special study session notes for March the 25th. Are there any corrections to be noted? Councilor Larson.
Mayor, on the April 8th meeting minutes, during the staff presentation, there's a typo toward the bottom. This is on, I believe it's resolution 15. Sorry, I don't have the page number. But on that last paragraph, the second line, there's a typo, pretty obvious.
Okay. Thank you. We'll give that information to the clerk. Any other corrections to be noted? Then the minutes will stand, and the minutes and notes will stand as revised. So do we have any changes to be noted in the agenda? None noted. We will proceed as presented. And we have a couple of proclamations tonight. Should I start again? Did that get reported, do you think? Or let me start that again. We didn't have the microphone. So this is a proclamation in support of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, May 2024. Whereas Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month is a month to celebrate and pay tribute to the contributions of generations of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders to American history, society, and culture. And whereas the origin of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month dates back to the 95th Congress, that was 1977 through 1978, when 5 joint resolutions were introduced proposing that a week in May be designated to commemorate the accomplishments of Asian American and Pacific Islanders. And whereas on March 28, 1979, President Carter issued Proclamation 4650, the first presidential proclamation for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Week, recognizing the significant role Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders have played in the creation of a dynamic and pluralistic American society with their contributions to the sciences, arts, industry, government, and commerce. And whereas the month of May was chosen to commemorate the immigration of the first Japanese to the United States on May 7, 1843, and to mark the anniversary of the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad on May 10, 1869, whose tracks were mostly laid by Chinese immigrants. And whereas generations of Asian American and Pacific Islanders of all backgrounds have been inspirational examples to leaders and trailblazers and have long-standing history of making significant cultural, economic, and scientific contributions across these United States. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Bud Starker, Mayor of the City of Wheat Ridge, and the Wheat Ridge City Council, formally designate the month, May 2024, as Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and encourage everyone to commemorate this important occasion in recognition of the numerous contributions made by the Asian American and Pacific Islander communities locally, nationally, and globally. Dated this 22nd day of April, 2024. Our second proclamation, I'd like to invite our clerk, Mr. Steve Kirkpatrick, to join me at the podium. How are you tonight, sir? Good. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. This is a proclamation in support of Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 5 through May 11, 2024. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants and provides the professional link between community members, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at all levels. And whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas the duties of the municipal clerk are many, including serving as the official record keeper for the municipality, issuing licenses and permits, coordinating elections, facilitating the annual board of review and municipal redistricting project, attending meetings, and serving as a community resource. And whereas municipal clerks continue to strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Bud Starker, Mayor of the City of Wheat Ridge, Colorado, and the Wheat Ridge City Council, do hereby recognize the week of May 5 through May 11, 2024 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our municipal clerk, Steve Kirkpatrick, Senior Deputy City Clerk, Margie Greer, and Deputy City Clerk, Robin Eaton, and all municipal clerks for the vital service they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Dated this 22nd day of April, 2024. I'm pleased to present this to you. We're going to give you a little applause. Would you like to say a few words?
You have a long agenda and a special study session. So I'm going to say thank you very much for this recognition. I am delighted that we now have the staff we do in the clerk's office. We have 2 seasoned professionals. I've been doing this for 4.5 years. Margie's been doing this since the Andrew Johnson administration. My point is, from that experience and training, she and Robin, who also is a master municipal clerk now, do an excellent job for us. We greatly appreciate the acknowledgement, and I hope you have a productive meeting. Thank you.
Steve. Oh, sure. And you got to get this. That's the important stuff. We're giving you something. It's a giveaway. Thank you. All right. Take care. Good to see you. Okay, we will now go to our public's right to speak. Any member of the public may come at this time and speak to their representatives. I have one person signed in to speak today, and when I read your name, if you'd please come to the podium. Mr. Sam Greenberg is here. And if you would please give us your first name and your last name and maybe an address for the record or who you represent, we'll go from there.
Thank you, Mayor Starker. My name's Sam Greenberg. I live at 2610 South Garland Street in Lakewood. I am here this evening to share an update on behalf of Representative Bernie Pedersen on her work for Colorado's 7th Congressional District. Last month, through the federal appropriations process, Congresswoman Pedersen secured nearly $14 million in funding for projects across the 7th District. This included $2 million for the City of Wheat Ridge's Naturally Occurring Affordable Housing Program, or NOAA, which will support Wheat Ridge's efforts to renovate and maintain affordable rental properties. You can read more about this project and others on our website, pedersen.house.gov, and we encourage our local communities to think of potential projects that could be eligible for federal funding in the next appropriation cycle. Earlier in April, as part of her effort to build an economy that works better for all, Congresswoman Pedersen introduced the Pink Tariff Study Act to look into gender bias in the U.S. tariff system. The term pink tax is often used to refer to the practice of companies charging consumers more for women's products than comparable men's products. However, there has not been much research done on how our tariff systems may contribute to these higher costs for women's products. The Pink Tariff Study Act directs the federal government to conduct a study on potential gender bias in our tariff systems. This bill is an important step in our fight for economic fairness and equality, and Congresswoman Pedersen hopes to see it become law soon. Lastly, Congresswoman Pedersen and her team have been working hard to connect with folks in their communities to provide assistance and important resources for federal issues. In the last 2 months, our office has hosted a seniors and IRS-focused resource fair, a housing resource fair, and 8 mobile office hour events. If you or anyone you know is experiencing issues with a federal agency, please visit our office at 550 South Wadsworth Boulevard in Lakewood, or visit our website to see what upcoming events we have, and our team would be happy to help. Thank you again for this time.
Thank you, Mr. Greenberg, and please express our thanks again to the Congresswoman. We appreciate it. Thank you. I have no one signed up, no one else signed up to speak, either in person or online. So we will now go to our item number 1. This is our consent agenda item. Councilor Ohm, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 1A, resolution number 16-2024, a resolution amending the fiscal year 2024 budget to reflect the approval of a supplemental budget appropriation for the reappropriation of 2023 fiscal year encumbered funds in the amount of $415,911.71. At issue, on February 26, 2024, Council approved the appropriation of 105 open purchase orders from the 2023 budget for the total re-encumbrance of $14,676,888.46. 3 of those 105 purchase orders incurred payments in 2024 prior to the carryover, but the amount was not reflected in the encumbrance amount. As a result, 3 purchase orders are now short of funds in the amount of the payment that was made. To continue or close out these projects in 2024, supplemental budget appropriation in the amount of $415,911.71 is necessary to allow transfer of these funds into specific budget line items in the 2024 budget. Item number 1B, resolution number 17-2024, resolution amending the 2024 fiscal year general fund budget to reflect approval of a supplemental budget appropriation amount of $75,000 for the purpose of accepting a grant from the Colorado Department of Local Affairs Emergency Solutions Grant Program. At issue in late 2023, the Wheat Ridge Homeless Navigation Program was awarded $75,000 by the Colorado Department of Local Affairs through its Emergency Solutions Grant application, with funds to be released in April 2024. ESG is a federal HUD-administered program now supplemented with Proposition 123 funds. The grant award will be used to support the navigation program's outreach and motel vouchering efforts. Item number 1C, resolution number 18-2024, resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Denver for management of a feasibility study to construct an off-street trail between Creekside Park and West 52nd Avenue. At issue, the city received a grant from the Jefferson County Open Space Trails Partnership Program for a trail feasibility study. The study will focus on the area between Creekside Park and Wheat Ridge and West 52nd Avenue, that is the border between Denver and Jefferson counties, to determine if an off-street trail connection is possible in this area to link together the existing Clear Creek Trail. Wheat Ridge will be accepting the Trails Partnership funding, so an intergovernmental agreement with Denver is required to outline the terms associated with this management of this project. Item number 1D, resolution number 19, 2024, resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Jefferson County Open Space to accept a trails grant in the amount of $45,000 for a feasibility study in partnership with the city of Denver. At issue, the city of Wheat Ridge was awarded $45,000 through the Jefferson County Open Space Trails Partnership Program. The $45,000 award is 50% of the estimated cost for a feasibility study of the area between Creekside Park and Wheat Ridge and West 52nd Avenue, that is the border between Denver and Jefferson counties, to determine if an on-street trail connection is possible in this area to link together the existing Clear Creek Trail. To accept the grant and receive the funding, the city council must direct the mayor to sign the grant agreement. Item number 1E, motion to appoint members to the Board of Adjustment. At issue, Section 2.53E of the City of Wheat Ridge Code of Law states any board or commission member who shall change their personal address residence to an address outside the city or district they represent shall cease to be a member of that board or commission. Betty Jo Page was previously appointed to a District 1 seat on the Board of Adjustment. She has since moved into District 2. She was removed from the board and she has reapplied for a District 2 seat. Thomas Burning, who holds a District 2 seat, is a resident of District 4. Staff is requesting to appoint Betty Jo Page to the District 2 seat currently occupied by Thomas Burning and to appoint Thomas Burning to the vacant District 4 seat. They will replace both members in the districts in which they reside. This will leave a vacancy in District 1 for which staff will recruit. Item number 1F, motion to approve the contract with OpenGov for the permitting licensing system in the amount of $137,933.31. At issue, in 2021, City Council determined a priority of the city must be to streamline permitting and licensing to assist the business community in working with Wheat Ridge and provide greater customer service. Following a 2-year evaluation period of systems and existing business processes, the city has selected 5 systems to drive efficiency and modernize business practices. The second system to be purchased and implemented is OpenGov, which will facilitate permitting and licensing for contractors as well as improving code enforcement visibility.
Thank you. This is our consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve items 1A through 1F?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve items 1A through 1F.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by the Mayor Pro Tem Stites. Would the clerk please poll the council?
All ayes, no nays, motion carries.
Thank you. We will now go to agenda item number 2. Councilor Hulteen, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to introduce Council Bill Number 6, 2024, an ordinance amending Section 26-109 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws concerning public hearing letter notice. At issue, prior to the public hearing for a quasi-judicial application, the zoning code currently requires that the city send letter notice of the hearing to owners and occupants within 600 feet of the subject property. The proposed ordinance extends this letter notice to 1,000 feet.
Thank you. This is an ordinance on second reading. It is a public hearing. It is not quasi-judicial. I'm going to open the public hearing. And Mr. Goff, do we have a staff presentation on this item?
Yeah, Lauren Mikulak, our Community Development Director, will add a few comments.
Director Mikulak.
Thank you. So this code amendment implements the discussion that we had at the end of last year. I think it really reflects our collective and continued approach to improving and providing high quality public information. It's noted in the memo, but I did want to call your attention to one thing that I was not thinking about at all when we discussed this in November, which is the Board of Adjustments letter notice. The Board of Adjustment usually hears variances and requests that are significantly more localized in nature. When we discussed this at study session, I was thinking about zone changes and special use permits and things that the Planning Commission and the Council sees. So you'll see in the ordinance and in the memo that we've proposed to retain the 600-foot mailing for the Board of Adjustment and then go ahead and make that change as directed to the 1,000 feet. Applicants have always paid for their neighborhood mailing, and if this ordinance is approved tonight, we would go ahead and modify our fee structure to split the cost of this enhanced mailing at 1,000 feet. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no members of the public signed up to speak on this, so we'll go to questions from council. Any questions of council for staff on this issue before I close the public hearing and ask for a motion? I'm going to close the public hearing. Councilor Hulteen, may I have a motion on item number 2?
Yes, I move to approve Council Bill number 06-2024, an ordinance amending section 26-109 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws, order it published, and that it take effect 15 days after final publication.
Second.
We have a motion and a second once again by Mayor Pro Tem Stites. Is there discussion on the motion? Okay, Councilor Hulteen.
Thank you. I just want to thank everyone's work on this. This was, it came forward from some issues and concerns in District 2 regarding notice around the Ives development. And I just really appreciate my colleagues and staff working to come up with a resolution. I think, everyone in their mind, I think, thinks they want this huge wide notice radius. But one of the things that Councilor Ohm and I have reminded constituents is that you really don't want people living too far away from you having input on what's happening in your backyard. And I think that this really strikes the balance of being responsive to our community members while really recognizing we want to keep those decisions close to those impacted. So I just appreciate where this landed, and I definitely will be supporting it. And I am grateful that the Board of Adjustments little snafu was caught and support keeping that at 600 feet. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Stites.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just echo what Councilor Hulteen just said. I think that this is a big step. One of the first things that we did when Councilor Hulteen and I were first elected, and a few of the rest of us were elected a few years ago, was double from 300 to 600 feet for this notification range. But we haven't had very many rezoning applications. It seems like there's a lot of growth, but we haven't had very many big rezoning applications. So when we do see them, it's good to get that public feedback and improve when we can. So I'm definitely going to be supporting this and look forward to seeing how it works. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the clerk please poll the council?
All ayes, no nays, motion carries.
Thank you. We'll go now to agenda item number 3. Councilor Weaver, would you please introduce this item?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is resolution number 2024, a resolution adopting a First Amendment to a cooperation agreement between the City of Wheat Ridge and the Wheat Ridge Urban Renewal Authority, DBA Renewal Wheat Ridge, providing for an extension of a sales tax sharing agreement with the U.S. retail partners in an amount not to exceed $2,874 or 15 years from the original agreement date. Would you like me to read the issue?
We're going to have a presentation on this, I think, so why don't we skip that?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. This is going to be a resolution of the council. It is a public hearing. It is not quasi-judicial. I'm going to open the public hearing. Mr. Goff, do we have a staff presentation on this item?
Thank you, Mayor. We'll give a brief presentation. We had an extensive presentation at the previous study session a few weeks ago where Will Damarath with Regency U.S. retail partners came in, and he unfortunately had a family issue this evening, could not be here this evening. But if you remember, the Walmart store closed in 2017. It's in the Applewood Shopping Center, which is owned by U.S. retail partners. They came to the Urban Renewal Authority and asked for some assistance to help redevelop that section of the Applewood Shopping Center, which they did in I believe in a very quick time frame. And just in under 2 years, we had new businesses such as Hobby Lobby, Home Goods, Sierra Trading Post, Ulta, Eyeglass World, and now Chick-fil-A have replaced the Walmart development. We agreed, the Urban Renewal Authority has agreed to share back the property tax increment that is generated off that site. And then the city also agreed to share 1 penny of the sales tax that is generated from that site for a period of 5 years. Excuse me, at that time, that was estimated to generate about $2 million. But if you also remember, this was the stores opened right when COVID hit. I think they were open for a month or two and then closed. So it took a couple years for the economy to balance back out. So they're only estimated to generate about $390,000 instead of the $2 million. At the study session, City Council did give direction to bring this forward for approval. So this would extend the sales tax shareback for another 10 years or up to $2,874,000, whichever occurs first. We believe the $2 million will be generated in probably about 6 years, not 10 years. So with that, I'm If you have any questions, happy to answer those.
Thank you. I have no members of the public signed up to speak on this, so I will go to questions from council. Any questions from council before I close the public hearing? And ask for a vote. Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. And Councilor Weaver, may I have a motion on this item?
You may. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve Resolution Number 20-2024, a resolution adopting the First Amendment to a cooperation agreement between the City of Wheat Ridge and the Wheat Ridge Urban Renewal Authority, DBA Renewal Wheat Ridge, providing for an extension of a sales tax sharing agreement with U.S. retailer partners in the amount not to exceed $2,874 or 15 years from the original agreement date.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilor Ohm. Is there discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the clerk please poll the council?
All ayes, no nays, motion carries.
Thank you. We will now go to agenda item number 4. Mayor Pro Tem Stites, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council Bill number 07-2024, an ordinance amending sections 11-51, 11-52.5, 11-53, 11-53.5, 11-55, and 11-56 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws concerning the composition of the Wheat Ridge Liquor Licensing Authority and making conforming amendments in connection therewith. At issue, the city has an 8-member council appointed liquor licensing authority, LLA, that is vested with the authority to grant and refuse liquor licenses and other types of applications and permits, and hold showcase hearing or show cause hearings for alleged violations, all in the manner provided by law. Over the past few years, the 8-member board has struggled at times to reach a quorum, delaying Wheat Ridge businesses from obtaining licenses and other resolutions in a timely manner.
Thank you. This is an ordinance on first reading to set the date, time, and location for a public hearing. Mayor Pro Tem Stites, may I have a motion on this item?
I move to approve Council Bill number 07-2024, an ordinance amending sections 11-51, 11-52.5, 11-53, 11-53.5, 11-55, and 11-56 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws concerning the composition of the Wheat Ridge Liquor Licensing Authority, making conforming amendments in connection therewith, on first reading, order it published, public hearing set for Monday, May 13th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. as a virtual meeting and in City Council chambers, and that it take effect 15 days after final publication.
We have a second by Councilor Ohm. Would the clerk please poll the council?
All ayes, no nays, motion carries.
Thank you. We will now go to agenda item number 5. Mayor Pro Tem Stites, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution number 21-2024, a resolution amending the 2024 fiscal year capital improvement program budget to reflect the approval of a supplemental budget appropriation in the amount of $1 million and expressing the intent of the city to be reimbursed for the future sales and use tax revenue bonds for certain expenses related to the emergency stormwater repairs. At issue, in November 2023, Wheat Ridge citizens favorably supported an extension of the half-cent temporary sales tax and sales and use tax to be used for constructing sidewalk gaps, sidewalk, bike lane, roadway, and drainage improvements. Recent storm sewer pipe failures has resulted in the need to access funds for these repairs, as bonds for these improvements will likely not be issued until the fall of 2024. At earliest, it is necessary to declare the city's intent to use bond proceeds for these improvements, and when financing occurs, to be reimbursed with proceeds from the bonds for these expenditures.
Thank you. This will be a resolution of the council. It is not quasi-judicial. Mr. Goff, do we have further staff report on this?
We don't have much more to add to this, just that there is, as the memo states, and I apologize, we just realized the second page of your memo was not included in your packet. The resolution is there. But we do have 2 more areas in the city where we have some emergency stormwater, storm sewer repairs. And was yours in there? Did you have yours, Mr. Assistant? No, the mayor does. Okay.
Okay.
And we don't have the funding to do it right now, but we do have funding we can borrow from the capital budget, capital improvement program budget. And after speaking with our bond counsel, we can, this reimbursement resolution will allow us to pay for those expenditures today. And then when we issue bonds, which we're hoping to do sometime in the fall, we can reimburse the capital budget with those bond proceeds. And if you remember, the bond proceeds, as the memo states, were to be used for stormwater improvements and other infrastructure.
Okay, thank you. I have no members of the public signed up to speak on this, so I will ask if there are any questions of council before we go to a vote. Okay, seeing none, Mayor Pro Tem, may I have a motion on this item?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve resolution number 21-2024, a resolution amending the 2024 fiscal year capital improvement program budget to reflect the approval of the supplemental budget appropriation in the amount of $1 million and expressing the intent of the city to be reimbursed for the future sales and use tax bond, or sales and use revenue bonds for certain expenses related to emergency stormwater repairs.
And we have a motion and a second by Councilor Councilor Ohm. Is there discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the clerk please poll the council?
I'm
Everybody
missing a
voted?
vote. All ayes, no nays, motion carries.
Thank you. We will now go to agenda item number 6. Councilor Larson, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution. This is resolution number 22-2024. A resolution amending the 2024 fiscal year general fund budget to reflect the approval of a supplemental budget appropriation in the amount of $115,000 for the purpose of approving an intergovernmental agreement with the City and County of Denver concerning the Urban Area Security Initiative. At issue, the State of Colorado received an Urban Area Security Initiative grant award for approximately $504,588 to purchase a mobile command post vehicle for the City of Wheat Ridge Police Department. Wheat Ridge is responsible to appropriate 20.1% match of funds and to approve an intergovernmental agreement with the City and County of Denver to receive the mobile command post vehicle. The grant award amount may increase or decrease slightly before the vehicle is delivered. To account for this uncertainty, this supplemental budget appropriation will approve matching funds up to an amount not to exceed $115,000 to ensure adequate funding is available for the city's required matching funds.
Thank you. This will be a resolution of the council. It is not quasi-judicial. Mr. Goff, do we have a staff presentation?
We do. Mr. Commander, our Commander John Pickett is here this evening to give you a little bit more details on this. But before he does, I would like to thank Mr. Pickett for his hard work on this. He spent a lot of time getting this grant. This is a huge expense for the city that we were not able to budget for many years. And because of this grant, we're able to get a new command vehicle. So
Okay.
with that, turn it over to Mr. Pickett.
Commander Pickett.
Thank you. So we started this process in 2022, going through the federal government, UASC, to gain this, and we did not receive advisement that we were granted the grant until after the budget of 2024 was in progress. And I want to make sure that the council understands this is not a tactical vehicle. It's a command post vehicle to help us with our command and communications during major events in the city. Although this will be primarily used for our SWAT team, with the West Metro SWAT team, we will also use it for major events, for safety and security, for the Carnation Festival, for events in Lakewood as well, because this has to be a shared asset, such as the Colfax Marathon. It will also be used for any major investigation response, homicides, major crashes, child abduction response, and any hazard response, both natural and man-made, within the city.
Thank you, Commander Pickett. I have no members of the public signed up to speak on this. Are there any questions of council on this item? Councilor Larson.
Thank you, Mayor. Probably the biggest question I have is comparing the existing command center vehicle you have today with what you're proposing. Can you describe a little bit sort of the differences, sort of the improvements you'll get from one over the other?
Certainly. The current command post that we use was originally bought for the police department to be our crime scene lab vehicle, and it was outfitted for that purpose. One detective was using that to respond to major incidents. Since that time, we have moved it into our command vehicle that's used primarily for the special events and SWAT team. It is over 20 years old and has been retrofitted 2 different times to try to keep up with the needs that we currently have. To give you an idea of what a full team SWAT response entails, that's 32 SWAT operators in command, 18 negotiators, bomb squad personnel, fire and EMS personnel, a drone team, and investigative personnel. We use a unified command structure within the incident command system to work with all those parties and to keep communication and command going. We need a dedicated space that will fit command people from all those units. Currently, our structure is a small van that has limited seating and, for guys my height, limited ability to move around, plus thinking of SWAT operators with all their gear. It is severely undersized. So with this, what we are looking at doing is get a command vehicle that will last us for a good 10, 15 years and be able to bring in EMS, bring in fire, bring in the drone team, bring in our negotiators into that vehicle instead of have 5, 6, 7 different vehicles in the area where our communication is not as good. We want to have that face-to-face for those emergencies.
And just one other question, the resolution describes an agreement with the city of Denver.
Correct.
Is it the city of Denver that's going to be preparing this thing for, and putting all the equipment in and all the wiring and the things that have to go into it to turn it into a command center?
That's a very good question. This will be a specific built unit for this purpose, which we didn't have before. The way the agreement works is the federal government awards the grant to Denver, who oversees the UASC assets within this region of Colorado. We then have the agreement with them to take that. And what will happen is the UASC personnel in Denver will work with us. We specifically put in parameters that we wanted for this vehicle. They will work with us to obtain that vehicle from a vendor, and then they'll turn that over to us once it's fully built. So Denver won't do the work. It'll be a private company.
So when it's delivered, it will be plug and play, ready to go?
Correct.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? Seeing none, Mr. Larson, may I have a motion on this item?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve resolution number 22-2024, a resolution amending the 2024 fiscal year general fund budget to reflect the approval of a supplemental budget appropriation in the amount of $115,000 for the purpose of approving an intergovernmental agreement with the city and county of Denver concerning the Urban Area Security Initiative.
We have a motion and a second by Councilor Weaver. Is there discussion on the motion? Oh, Councilor Snell, sorry. Do you have discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the clerk please poll the council?
I just wanted
Oh,
to make a comment.
okay, so I'm,
I think this is fantastic,
Okay.
but I have to let you know that what was going through my head was the theme to the $6 Million Man. It's bigger, it's better, it's faster. So I just dated myself on that one, but
okay, now if there's no more discussion, would the clerk please poll the council?
All ayes, no nays, motion carries.
Mayor, before we proceed, the chief would like to say a few words on this.
Thank you for that. I just wanted to let you all know that today I was handed a piece of paper from Commander Pickett. After 33 years, he'll be retiring. He wanted to finish up this package, but I wanted to thank him for his work on this because 2 years has been more than he talked about in his presentation. More headaches, more head pounding than that, and he's been a great commander for the Wheat Ridge Police Department. So I've kicked both Picketts out of the police department effectively at this point. So
Thank you. Well, Commander
I'll let you
Pickett, we want to thank you for your service. I hope we'll have another opportunity to appreciate you. Okay, with that, we will go to agenda item number 7. And Councilor Snell, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have resolution number 23-2024, a resolution supporting an application to the Jefferson County Historic Landmark Designation Program for the Wheat Ridge Historical Park and Bauhaus, and authorizing the mayor to sign the related owner consent form. At issue, the Wheat Ridge Historical Society and the City of Wheat Ridge were approached by the Jefferson County Historical Commission about applying to the County Landmark Designation Program for the Wheat Ridge Historical Park and the Bauhaus. Both properties can be submitted as a single application. As the city owns the buildings and properties, City Council support for the application on the county program is needed, and council would need to direct the mayor to sign the owner consent form that is part of the application.
Thank you. This will be a resolution of the council. It is not quasi-judicial. Pardon me, Mr. Goff, do we have a staff presentation on this item?
Brandon Altenberg is here from our Parks and Rec Department. He's going to give a little bit more background on this, I believe.
Okay, Mr. Altenberg, come on up.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm here with Marta Hetty from the Wheat Ridge Historical Society. We just have a couple background comments about this. As you may know, the Wheat Ridge Historical Park has 5 buildings plus the Bauhaus just south of the park. 2 of those are nationally registered and 3 are state registered, but none are currently county registered. We actually don't have any Wheat Ridge buildings currently on the county registry, so this is a chance to change that. Marta, would you like to talk about the Historical Society's perspective on this? Come on up.
Hello. I'm fighting allergies, and they've all settled in my throat. So I have a frog there. Like Brandon said, I'm Marta Hetty. I sit on the board of the Historical Society, and we are just tickled pink, and probably a lot of other colors. To say that we are excited to be awarded this designation from the Jefferson County Historical Commission would be an understatement. To say that we are thankful to the mayor and city council for their approval is also an understatement. Frankly, the word gobsmacked comes to mind. So does the phrase completely honored. We're not in the habit of collecting many awards. We mostly just volunteer at the park where we manage or we engage in projects designed to bring Wheat Ridge history to everyone. We maintain physical objects of historical value to the best of our abilities. We tell Wheat Ridge stories as often as we can. Occasionally, we save a building or two from the wrecking ball, and we try to stay organized. Pardon the laughter. Most of all, we want the residents of Wheat Ridge and everyone else who stops by to know what an interesting, fascinating place this city is. Being an all-volunteer brigade, we don't have much training. What we do have is a dedication to keep local history alive, powered by a real love of all history and the gift of gab. This recognition and its timing during our 50th year in existence goes a long way to feeding our hearts, our brains, and our dedication to continue reviving history. Thank you all for adding another shining star to this golden community.
Thank you, Ms. Hetty. before we go to questions from council, I have no members of the public signed up to speak, so now we'll see if any councilors have any questions for staff or their guests at this time. Councilor Weaver.
I just had a quick question. Does this designation hurt in any way in terms of being able, I know the Bauhaus doesn't have any water or anything like that, and just if there was want to update.
Yeah, we do have language on that. So should the area be designated by the county, the only requirement that's added for us is we are encouraged to consult with the Landmark Designation Commission prior to undertaking any new construction, exterior alteration, relocation, or demolition. So there's no requirements, but we would be encouraged, we being the city as property owners, to consult with them before making any major changes.
Any other questions before we go for a motion? Seeing none, thank you very much for coming with us. Ms. Hetty, it's nice to see you again. Councilor Snell, may I have a motion on this item?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve resolution number 23-2024, a resolution supporting an application to the Jefferson County Historical Landmark Designation Program for the Wheat Ridge Historical Park and Bauhaus, and authorizing the mayor to sign the related owner consent form.
We have a motion and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Stites. Is there discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the clerk please poll the council?
All ayes, no nays, motion carries.
Thank you. That concludes our agenda business items. We will now go to city managers matters. Mr. Goff.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple quick things. As you all know, we're updating the city's comprehensive plan, which we're calling the city plan. The city plan survey is available on whatsupwheatridge.com. It will be open until Friday, May 3rd. If individuals can also contact the city for a paper copy or to take the survey over the phone. The survey that is on whatsupwheatridge.com mimics the questions that were asked at the open house that we had last week. I know a lot of you were there. So we encourage our residents to take a chance to check out whatsupwheatridge.com and fill out that survey. Also, the city had to cancel its annual tree sale on Saturday, but being Colorado, Sunday was fine and warm after that snow. And we were sold out of 99 trees in just 3 hours. So thank everybody for coming out and buying those trees. Thank you.
Thank you. City attorneys matters. Mr. Don.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Nothing tonight. Okay, we will go to elected officials matters. I see our city clerk has left the hall, so I will start with Councilor Snell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one exciting announcement. Councilor Hoppy and I have a District 1 meeting on the calendar for Wednesday, May 15th. Our District 1 meeting will be held at the Wheat Ridge United Methodist Church in the event center, which is also home to the Wheat Ridge Center for Music and Arts. We're putting together a great agenda. We will have lots of good information and encourage everyone to get out and come join us. That's all I got. Thank you.
Councilor Hulteen.
Well, I am not giving the Happiness Gardens update tonight because we're going to be getting this immediately after the meeting from the pro. But I did want to share, so tonight we had the proclamation recognizing Asian and Pacific Nation peoples. And, you know, I wish I would have gotten on this a little bit earlier, but, you know, District 2 has three Asian churches in our district. And so I just want to recognize the Bethel Korean Church, the Queen of Vietnamese Martyrs, and then St. James Episcopal Church at 44th and Brentwood actually is a shared congregation with the Hmong people. And it's really lovely and delightful and fun to go to one of their services because it's bilingual and includes some pretty fun things you wouldn't expect to see at your neighborhood Episcopalian church. So I just want to recognize we have a lot of cultural diversity in the city. And in fact, I believe the Vietnamese church throws a really amazing annual heritage celebration. I have yet to make it, and I would really like to try and make it this year. So just want to recognize District 2 actually has a lot of that culture, and I have partook in some of it and looking forward to doing more in the future.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Larson.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, I'd like to send out a happy Passover. And then I'd also like to hope that we can conclude our meeting tonight, and so I can get in front of the TV and cheer on the Nuggets.
Okay, thank you very much. Counselor Ohm.
Thank you, Mayor. So District 2 will be having a meeting at Happiness Gardens on May 11th at 10 o'clock. And two other things I wanted to announce was just to give everybody's radar, there's Wheatridge High School is having an annual plant sale on May 3rd through the 5th in the cafeteria, and there's a lot of dates, but 4:30 on the 3rd, and then on the weekend, it looks like 9 to 3 p.m. It'll be inside the cafeteria at the high school. And then this week, I got to attend a affordable housing conference. It's something that I feel pretty strongly about, and we had really good panelists of DOA. We had Chaffa. They talked about construction. They talked about construction cost, management. And then they had something that I thought was kind of interesting is they started talking about modular stacked housing, which I haven't seen a lot of. And there's some new manufacturers in Colorado. So I'm just trying to keep up on everything on the affordable housing. There's quite a good turnout there, but I'm glad I went. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Weaver.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am going to put this out there to anyone who's interested. They should email me. I am getting together slowly this summer a group regarding the emergency services for when we have a catastrophic event for ag animals. In other words, not teaching your animals to evacuate, but how we do that. And I'm working with PD and the Colorado Department of Agriculture emergency response person to start figuring out what a local group looks like. This is something that rural communities have all over Colorado. And with the event of seeing fire come down into the urban region, it's time that we think about what happens for those of us who have big animals and where they go, and sort of the emergency bag that we all should be having, by the way, at your door if you ever have to evacuate for some reason. But just thinking about that with animals. So I'm just in the beginning stages of this, but if anyone in the community or in this room wants to be part of those conversations, please shoot me an email, and I'll keep you all updated. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem Stites.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say last Tuesday I had the opportunity to stop by the rec center and pop into the open house that was going on for the city plan. CCB, as usual, doing a fantastic job, and it looked like a great turnout, at least the time I was there. And Director O'Donnell was there manning the table for Parks and Rec, and Director Mikulak was there manning the table for Lutheran and talking about the Legacy Campus. So it's great to see that public engagement going on, and great to see so many citizens show up for that. Wednesday night, I popped over to Wheatridge High School. Superintendent Dorland was there talking to parents and staff members from both Wheatridge and Golden. Could save on that. She had a lot to say, but there's some interesting things going on at the high school and middle school level, and a lot going on in the Wheatridge community to strengthen those pathways from our elementary schools to our middle school to our high schools. So if you've got young kids and kids that are going up through, consider those Wheatridge schools. Speaking of that, Friday afternoon was Mr. Weaver Day at Prospect Valley. If you don't know Mr. Weaver, Tim Weaver was Color Strand's family engagement and liaison person for many years. He is a fantastic human being, still works in the community sometimes, but he travels quite a bit now as a retired person. But it's a day of service that Prospect Valley does. So there was a blood drive, and all the students were doing things for the community, doing community service projects that day. So very cool day, and Mr. Weaver is a fantastic person. Also, I want to thank Lisa Denton for putting that together for Prospect Valley. And I also want to thank all of the businesses along 38th Avenue. Personal Chief Martial Arts had about a 400-person belt graduation graduation on Friday night at Stevens Elementary, and we were able to partner with Rolling Smoke, Little Brazil, Clancy's, Wolf and Wildflower, and Mestizo, and all of our students were able to kind of go out and in the community and be in those restaurants and after that and celebrate with their families. So I really want to thank those businesses for partnering with us and doing a great job. So again, if you can find it, you should find it and buy in Wheat Ridge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem and councilors. I was really delighted to attend the city plan event last week. I want to congratulate the staff and for having a great presentation there and a lot of high energy. Thanks for all the citizens and residents who came out to look at the plan. There's a lot going on in the plan and a lot of great information that we got together. I had also last week an opportunity to go out to a subsidiary of Oakwood Homes, who is building modular housing right over by I-25 and I-70. Very interesting about how they've got, it's a big warehouse, and they've got it lined up with indoor cranes to be able to move their material and their products through the factory. And it looked like really an interesting way to build homes. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of that. After the city plan, my wife and I went over to Little Brazil. Great meal. If you haven't been able over there to eat, it's a great new restaurant. We also, the next night, my son and I went to Rolling Smoke and had a great barbecue meal. It's a lot of fun, and they're doing a great job there. So we've got a lot of great businesses in Wheat Ridge, and I want to kind of encourage them all because we've got a lot of great things going on. So that's all I had. If there's no more business to come before the council at our meeting, I'm going to adjourn this meeting, and we will probably move very quickly into our study session, special study session.
And then this remote is all plugged in, I assume. Yeah? Oh, it's on. Okay, good. Share screen. Okay.
Okay. Well, you got your phone here? Just turn the sound down. The sound down. All right.
Yeah, that works, I think. Yeah. Uh-huh. So that's all we have to do. Okay.
Are presenters ready?
Okay, good. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, we're
I
loading
would,
everything up.
Thank you. I would like to call to order our special study session for the City Council for the City of Wheat Ridge, Colorado for April the 22nd, 2024, Earth Day. And we have one item on our agenda tonight, which is a report, an update, Happiness Gardens update. Mr. Goff.
Sure, we'll turn it over to Karen O'Donnell, our Parks and Rec Director. She's got some staff here that she'll introduce.
Director
Thank
O'Donnell.
you, City Manager Goff. Thank you, Mayor and Council. We are excited to be here to share a full update with you on Happiness Gardens and a variety of adjacent topics. This originally came up, I spoke with Councilmember Hulteen just to make sure that we were hitting the mark in terms of what we were presenting this evening. And we talked about sharing the idea that Happiness Gardens and the associated programs really are creating community and connecting us with the rich history of agriculture here in Wheat Ridge. And it's also not only creating community, but across the generations. So we're going to talk about a variety of things, but before I continue, I would like the co-presenters to introduce themselves.
Hello, great to meet you. My name is Kristen Dennis. I go by YY, and I am the community garden coordinator.
And I'm again Brandon Altenberg, Grant Special Project Administrator for Wheat Ridge Parks and Rec.
Okay, so we're just going to briefly share some information on the history of agriculture in the city of Wheat Ridge. A lot of this I actually found on the city's website, so you're probably all familiar with this. But Wheat Ridge was named for the golden ridges of wheat noted by travelers passing along the Overland Trail. And then after the gold rush, primarily unsuccessful miners returned back to this area and began farming on the rich and fertile soil. And it was noted that this rich and fertile soil didn't exist across the entire region. It was very much in this area. So thus, some of these farming areas were converted into fruit orchards and vegetable fields, and then attracted the buyers from all over Denver. And then the Wheat Ridge farming producers shared that their products from farming with the whole Denver metro area. So they were able to deliver that produce to areas that had limited resources. And this eventually led to greenhouses and the largest production of carnations in the world. As everyone knows, we are the carnation city. And rumor has it, I don't know the truth of this, but I heard that we once delivered carnations to the White House. So once a week.
Every week.
Okay. Maybe we should do that again. I'm just kidding. Anywho, so that's a fun fact. And then this Happiness Garden site is approximately 51 years old. And it sounds like it was previously operated, it hasn't always over the 51 years been operated by the city, but previously operated by various organizations, including a dairy farm, the Rotary Club, men's clubs, women's clubs. But now the city of Wheat Ridge manages this space. And even in the short time that I've been here, I started in July of 2019, this area has changed significantly. And a lot of that is because of the work that YY Dennis has done. So the next slide, you're going to hear a little bit about how this space has evolved. So YY, take it away.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, so as Karen mentioned, the community garden has been there for primarily the past 50 years. It's mostly just spaces rented for community members until recently. You might have been familiar with how we split the garden in half, and the front half is community plots. The back half is used for market gardeners. Market gardeners being people that are producing for restaurants, farm stands, farmers markets, or kind of food ways, and I'll go into some of that in a couple of slides. We have a small horticulture team, and in the past there wasn't any dedicated staff. I came on in 21, somewhere like that, 22. I started part-time, and then now I am full-time. Most of the plots are 10 by 20. There's some 10 by 10, 10 feet by 10 feet. We also offer flower beds. The space is open from April 1st to November 1st, and for 2024, we are sold out. There are a couple of people that are on what I would call like a quasi waiting list, because during these next couple of weeks, the reality of gardening will start to settle in, and people will start to be like, maybe that's a bit too much for me and my new family. So there's a couple of people that are waiting around to see what might happen in the pre-June shakedown.
Thanks. And some background on the Regenerate Wheat Ridge program, which is an educational workshop series the city runs. In 2021, the city worked with the Jefferson Conservation District, which covers Jefferson County, to apply for a urban agriculture grant from the National Association of Conservation Districts. Council members Holteen and Weaver were involved with that, and we did get that funding, and we were able to run workshops throughout 2021 and 2022 at no charge to the public on topics like regenerative agriculture, sustainability, urban ag, topics like that, gardening in your own home or at the gardens. In addition to those workshops, we also developed, our goal was to develop 2 landowner-producer partnerships where people that wanted to grow food could work with landowners to grow food on their property. We did set up one initial partnership through that work, and we also developed a technical assistance guide that we published and posted on our website, so other communities could look at that and decide to copy that if they wanted. Kind of a proof of concept document, how-to guide, that type of thing. We also hosted a Harvest Festival event. I believe that was in fall of 2022 when COVID had started to die down a bit. In 2022 as well, we presented our work thus far at the Colorado Parks and Recreation Association Conference, and that's the statewide organization that promotes the Parks and Rec industry. So we had a session there that we presented on. And then we also, at that same conference, received a state award, the Columbine Award for Programming from the association, and that's given to one Parks and Rec program throughout the entire state each year. So that's a pretty cool honor to get, and that's a picture from that evening. Like I mentioned, the Regenerate Leaders program had 5 free workshops the first year. So we were able to do 7 in the second year with a little more lead time. We're now up to 9 workshops annually. And since that grant funding did expire and was used up, we do now charge for it, but it's pretty reasonable. And that does fit with our department service sustainability model, which we use to try and price things appropriately so we can run our programs long term. Workshop topics are listed there, but they include soil composting, bugs, companion planting, harvesting, tree care, goats, pollinators, and more. Kind of within that broader regenerative agriculture topic. And most of our sessions have about 15 to 25 attendees, and some do sell out, the most popular ones. A year later, in 2022, we also applied for a Community First Foundation and Jeffco Public Health initiative around food security in the county. And we did get $50,000 from that program for Happiness Gardens improvements. And those included upgrading the irrigation system and expanding it to an area south of the original gardens that was not being used at that time. It is now planted and being used. Site preparation for that garden expansion to the south and southeast. Crusher fines, access walkways throughout that new area. New educational garden, fruit trees, and landscaping plants, compost, edging, soil amendments, all the stuff needed to install that garden. And I'll let Wai talk about a little more with that grant program.
Thanks, Brandon. So as Brandon mentioned, we received this Community First Foundation grant. One of the great things that happened with that was we were able to open the irrigation into that abandoned right-of-way, and as I'll talk about in a little bit, that's what afforded us the ability to get the food forest that we have now. Along with this grant, part of the intention was to develop 2 partners to get food from the garden into the food system. So by now we are partnered with Fresh Food Connect. That's an app that helps people in their own personal gardens get their food to the closest food bank. And we're also partnering with Kaizen Food Rescue, and they do operate out of the Vietnamese church on 26th and Chase, I think. But what we're going to be doing in this coming year is Thursday nights, we're going to have some kind of a group garden get together, and we'll have harvest collected from within the garden, the community garden, and everybody else that hears about it. And then Friday morning, we'll get that food from our garden to that fresh, free farmers market. So that's been a really cool project that we're developing. I also applied for and received a native plants grant. With that, we were able to get about, I know it sounds like a lot of plants, 1,500 plants, that sounds like a ton, but they're really tiny and they don't always take. So we really overplanted this native plants exhibit. But the really cool thing that we were able to do with that was we got a bunch of volunteers together, and now we have some native plant stewards that are really out there checking on the health of those plants and looking at ways that they can spread the knowledge of native plants into other communities. The native plant exhibit does demonstrate different areas in our region, southeastern, foothills, plains, and prairies. So you can go out there now and see what could be growing in your garden, what could be blooming right now. There's already flowers out there. So as I mentioned before, we also were able to partner with Denver Urban Gardens and expand it into that right-of-way. Legend also has it. That was supposed to be called a Leprechaun Lane. So Patrick, I don't know if you know anything about that, but that's another urban legend. But so that was an abandoned right-of-way, and with the funding that we had, we were able to expand the irrigation over. At that same time, Denver Urban Gardens was expanding their food forest program. And so they have now put, this is a little bit incorrect, there were already 5 food forests when they started the program. So we are one of 20 food forests in the metro area. There's more than 127 trees and their companion plants planted over there. So all of this happened to literally fall into our laps through their program. They provide the volunteers, they provided all the plants, they provided the signage, and you can see the heart and soul that, you know, combining people with passion and land can create. Out there, every day I walk out there, there's something new that has happened or something that's changed. The tree keepers' names are Miranda and Brian, and they have built, it looks like a little pyramid, but it's a free food stand. Today, I just went out there to check it, and there were 2 little plants out there, and they said, please rescue me. And they were about to die, so I rescued them. I'll put them back out there after they've come back a little bit more. So this space has really afforded us some opportunities to create some amazing partnerships. One of the partnerships that we're still working with and expanding is this Therapeutic Garden Initiative. So it's a group of professionals that are working in trauma-informed horticulture that are creating a playbook and helping to transition some of urban gardens into therapy gardens. So these would be gardens that would encourage you to interact with the natural environment, like touch this, smell this, feel this leaf. We'll be working with creating a bug hotel, which is really getting people used to being down and low into the grounds and getting to be friends with some of our not as comfortable creepy crawlies. But that's what a therapy garden will do, is just to open the opportunity for people to interact with nature and receive the healing benefits that happen when you care for nature. We're also starting an Indigenous food partnership, so we'll be working on creating what I call a food ways. So food way is all the ways that you can get food. So there's the way of growing it and the culture that's attached to growing it, but there's also the way that you eat food. And there's also the cultural significance that food brings to you. So one of the things that we're going to be working with is with Chill Indigenous Foods is helping to create an Indigenous foodways. So this is a partner with Narissa. We're working with her into some of our market plots that I spoke with you about. They're larger plots, about a 16th to an 1/8 of an acre. And she's going to be growing out some indigenous foods that maybe have been extinct for her generations. So this is a really great opportunity for her to grow them out. She can then take them and process them in subtle ways, like turning corn into cornmeal and selling the cornmeal back to her indigenous communities. Also teaching us how to use those dry land farming techniques and a whole nother variety of potatoes. I can't even wait. We also use this area. There's a lot of partnerships. I can talk forever about this stuff, but I'll try to keep it to a short period. We got to watch the Nuggets win. So we also use that area for education programs. When Wilmore Davis was open, we had the kids out there all the time. Since that has closed down, we've replaced the littler kids with the high school kids. So they've been coming out and helping maintain that expansion area. So when we received that Community First Foundation grant and that $50,000, we've been really able to stretch that and make it go a long way, because we've been using the high school kids as labor and as designers. So they've designed areas, they've laid some of the rock that is out there. They maintain, if you go out there, you'll see the garlic patch that they put in last November, December. And the really cool thing that happens is that they had no idea garlic actually grows from little heads of garlic. So seeing them have these interactions where they don't know, like, food comes from the ground, you can pick things off of trees and eat them. It's an amazing connection that is, it's powerful. This year also we're creating 2 different volunteer groups. One is called the Many Hands Group, and this is a requirement for the gardeners to participate in one of the Many Hands activities. So Many Hands make light work. So the idea is to get community gardeners in the community helping each other out and maintaining some of their common spaces. But we also opened that to community members this year, and that's called Friends of Happiness Gardens. And it will start within Happiness, but ultimately we'll probably be able to move those volunteers out into other gardening projects or anything that has to do with the food forest or food and gardening. More initiatives. You're kidding me. There's more things. Okay, so yeah, we do goats, we do bees. We've done 2 leaf drops. Where we do this as a community service, it also helps to create some of the best compost. What you know about leaves is that
they're not noxious. They're not bad. They've been mined from deep within the earth with all the really great minerals of the area. So when we take those leaves from the community members and keep them out of landfills, really great things. We're reducing our carbon, but we're also creating this really amazing compost that goes back onto the community gardens, into the gardens. So it's a really safe way to create compost. We've been planting trees like crazy, cherries, apples, pears, service berries, and we do an annual plant giveaway.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, YY. Okay, so you may recall in 2021 that we were approached by a landowner at 4100 Gray Street. He was interested in selling his property to the city, and it allowed us to have the full 2 city blocks for Randall Park. It was the only parcel on that 2 city block area that wasn't ours. So we purchased that with the help of Jefferson County Open Space Land Acquisition Funds. They provided $150,000 towards that project. And since then, we have demolished the house and have done the asbestos abatement and other pre-demolition tasks. And Brandon will talk a little bit more about the engagement that went along with that.
Yeah, in 2022, we did put out a public survey asking for feedback on what to do with this expansion plot of the park, and if they would support a garden idea, and if so, what type of garden, rental plots, education, run by like a nonprofit. Those are some of the options we listed. We got 46 responses that year on that survey. 91% supported a garden at that space, and then 40% preferred an educational garden, 30% preferred rental plots similar to Happiness Gardens, and 20% preferred like a larger one producer garden space. So fairly split there. We'll talk about that a little more later, but we are proposing a combination of those options. And just want to mention that we've applied for grants for this project, and the town of Mountain View, which basically abuts the corner of Randall Park, also supported the project with a letter of support. So would be a good neighbor there. Back to Karen here.
Like to go back and forth. I just wanted to mention that in the packet that you received, that first bullet point was a typo. It mentioned that we used ARPA dollars towards this project, but we did not. It was just originally funded in 2023 through Fund 32, our open space fund. But we did use approximately $25,000 for the demolition, the survey, utility disconnect, the asbestos abatement, and other minor expenses. So that left $175,000 for the remainder of that project. And staff has been working with that figure, but then also Brandon will talk about a grant that he's applied for that we're waiting to hear back on, but if successful, will kind of steer the course of this project.
Yeah, this application we just submitted beginning of April. We'll find out in June if we get it or not. It's from the USDA's Urban Agriculture Program, but it would be about $340,000 to fund building a greenhouse that could be used both by city horticulture staff for educational growing, but also be rented by residents to start their grows during the winter, potentially transfer those to their own homes or Happiness Gardens or Randall Gardens. Next to the greenhouse would be a classroom space that could be used for Regenerate Wheat Ridge programs, other educational programs put on by the city, or rented out by local farmers or groups that may want to use that as a presentation space. That would all be climate controlled, especially with the greenhouse. And we'd also be able to do, I think, about 8 garden plots in addition to the greenhouse and classroom. We'd be able to build those garden plots and rent those out to other resident renters. If you can picture where Randall Park versus Happiness Gardens are, they're pretty different parts of the city. Happiness is pretty central. Randall is pretty much the northeast corner. So we'd be serving different neighborhoods with 2 different garden areas in that case. So hopefully we get good news in June, but we'll see. I think I mostly just covered this. Yes, let's see. Yep. And I guess the question kind of for council is, what do we do if we don't get the grant funding? And that's kind of where we'll leave that piece today. But I'll move on to YY. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, YY.
Yeah. So one of the things that Brandon left out in the grant that we left applied for was that it's an innovation grant. And the thing that makes this project innovative is going back to what I was talking about with the food waste. So when we're giving out plants in our plant giveaway, we've been given these seeds that come from a conventional seed house. They come from all over the country. They probably can come from all over the world. Then we give those to our partner greenhouse that grows them in a conventional greenhouse, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's how many of our plants are grown. But what we're trying to do is step out a little bit different with our Regenerate Wheat Ridge. So what this greenhouse project could afford us to do is to start a regionally adapted seed bank where our farmers or our gardeners are saving their own seeds. They're starting those seeds in the fall or in the winter, and they're growing them out for generations. They're growing culturally relevant foods that are adapted to this area, and we're growing them in a greenhouse using integrated pest management systems that are green, chemical-free, all of those things. And we're teaching classes on how to do that too. The other really cool thing that this project would afford us is a germination room. So when you get a package of seeds, maybe you've had them for thousands of years because your grandmother smuggled them in her hair, right? And they mean so much to you. You have to test those seeds and make sure the viability of them is going. So if we had a germination room, this would be allowing farmers from all over the community to come and test their seeds. And really what we're talking about is the size of a closet that's dark and climate controlled. So it's not anything that's like technologically like heavy, but these are innovative processes now. By having a regionally adapted seed bank, that means that you're guaranteed that your seeds are going to be adapting with the climate as it continues to change. So these are some of the innovative things that we could do. One of the ideas that if we don't give the funding, we're going to get the funding, but if we don't, we could possibly do some other kind of education garden in there using indigenous or native plants and make it a really walking or self-guided tour, something along that lines. Oh, the best part. So yeah, when we're talking about, we're not just growing plants, we're growing community. So every time that I'm out there, there's some kind of interaction happening within generations. Our eldest gardener, maybe she's pushing in her 80s or 90s. She's been out there gardening for 25 years. She helps the gardeners that are coming in new every year get established. When we do our many hands there, our volunteer days, we get gardeners from all abilities that are showing up to put in their, even if they just show up for 5 minutes, they show up in the rain. I can't keep these people away. I'm not even kidding you. Like we have community potlucks, and one year it was raining, downpouring, and they all showed up. And I was like, what are we going to eat? We did. We ate out there and we ate in community. So what I see about community gardens is really the intersection between social justice and environmental justice, where people can come together and really take care of each other and take care of the earth. Yeah? Oh, next slide. Right. Oh, thank you. Questions?
Okay, well, thank you very much. Great presentation. Let's go from some questions. Councilor Hulteen.
I just want to thank you guys. That was such a great presentation. I thought, I give these little updates every week when I'm up here, but I think the opportunity to get the full picture of what's happening in this little corner of our community, that actually a lot of District 2 people don't even know the garden's there in part. And I've talked with Karen about this. The sign is actually runs parallel to the street, so the people who know about it are the people who live across the street. But if you're driving down Ammons, you actually don't even see the sign. So it's this kind of hidden little gem. But when I was first elected, the sidewalk didn't go all the way through, and it was just this kind of like unactivated corner, and there were people there gardening, but a lot of the garden plots were not being used. The flower bed was pretty untended. And just to have witnessed, since the Regenerate Wheat Ridge grant, the activation and programming there that has really transformed it, like the sidewalks gone in, all of the different things, the demonstration gardens, the plots are all filled, there's people there. The programming and activation has just been phenomenal. And so it's why I love giving the little updates, because literally something's happening there every day, and the city's doing a big part of it, but part of it is just that the community is showing up. So I just wanted to mention a couple things. The bees, they make honey, and so you can actually get a jar of Happiness Gardens honey which I think is really cool. There are beds that were actually constructed with the Livewell grant that are elevated ADA accessible grants. It's beds. It's my understanding those are going to get revised and be actually truly more ADA accessible. So again, this is a garden that's for everyone in our community. The Regenerate Wheat Ridge program actually includes volunteer instructors. So as has been mentioned several times, like this is community, teaching community. And I think that's just one of the things that I love so much about gardening and agriculture is that it really isn't a textbook activity. It is something really best learned from other people. And we've really tapped into, I think, one of the things that is just foundational to our city is we care about how things grow, we care about our resources, and we really care about the intergenerational connections. So this place in this program is really bringing all of that together. And then I just wanted to mention a couple weeks ago, a woman came in and spoke for the first time. I met her in the hallway. She introduced herself. I said, oh, sign up and speak at council. And she did. And when I was chatting with her afterwards, her name's Lynn, I asked her, she had only lived here a couple months, and I asked her, like, you know, how did you move here 2 months ago and you're talking at city council 2 months later? And she's like, I moved here and I looked at the recreation guide and I went to a Regenerate Wheat Ridge class. And she's like, and these were my people. And I just knew this was my community and I really wanted to get more involved. So it's opportunities like that. And when Councilmember Weaver and I and this team was working on the grant that we wrote, the vision of having regenerative agriculture classes institutionalized in our parks and recreation was like kind of giddy, exciting, didn't seem like it would actually really happen. And it did. And I just really want to thank our parks and recreation because we could have had a really good 2-year grant run and let it go. And instead, we're just getting stronger every year with it. So I just want to thank you for your partnership. And there's just not enough words on the dais to thank YY. One of the benefits of walking by the garden almost every day is getting to see YY with some frequency. She's never this nicely dressed because she's working hard. It's hard work over there. And so I just am so grateful. It's a special place in District 2 and in our community. And cannot wait to see what happens next with Randall Park. So just thank you all for all your work, and I will continue to give my little updates.
Thank you. Councilor Ohm.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, everyone that's worked on the Happiness Gardens. There's so many boxes that you guys have checked off, you know, as far as, working with indigenous, cultural type of plants, the native plants, all the different fruit trees, and Councilmember Hulteen is right. I remember years ago when it was kind of sad that the state it was in, and now it is so vibrant. It's amazing, and I just think about and now we're gonna have a second one. Randall Park, that is so fantastic. I've had a lot of people asking for the past couple of years. They're really excited to come on board, and then that'll have a greenhouse. So I think that it's going to open up some more doors. One question I do have is, have you considered doing any type of vertical farming in that greenhouse? Is that something you've looked at?
Vertical farming?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Councilor Weaver. Now it's your turn.
I just, first of all, just thank the three of you so much. And because when I came on council a long time ago now, Happiness was not an activated space. And it is literally, that landscape has been totally transformed, and it's because of the three of you. And I really, really appreciate that. It is now a place, and it's now a place that no one really remembers the other story that was at Happiness, which is just fine. I mean, there are some stories we want to remember, and then there are some stories that, and you've made that story so much better, and now that story is getting institutionalized into what green space looks like or can look like. And we just have, kudos for each of you individually for your expertise and all the different things. But you each have vision at different levels that has allowed our Park and Rec to just be as far as I'm concerned, second to none because of the way you all have looked at what it means to be an environmental steward in the big sense of, yes, recreation and park and green and I just love how I feel like so many more people are being served by our green spaces and our recreation, and we're touching a lot more people. So thank you all, and I'm in awe, and I can't wait for the next space and then to tell the story of how all these spaces are kind of different. So so thanks, and you know, I'm always going to support whatever you all need. So
Thank you. Thank you. Counselor Larson.
Thank you, Mayor. Real basic sort of question, though, when we talk about Randall Park, what is your ultimate vision for Randall Park? I'm looking at a Google Map image of it now, and there's a couple of old baseball fields and a basketball court. Do they all go away?
No, it's just the corner where that house was that we're redeveloping with garden space. Everything else will remain the same at this time. Yeah.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Counselor Snell.
Thank you. I'll be brief because I know we've passed tip off now. I just wanted to say another word of huge thanks. And I'm surrounded by so many gardeners in my life. I feel I'm married to a newly minted master gardener with the state of Colorado. I've got dear friends that are gardeners. I can't grow very much myself, but that's not important. What's important is our community is so excited and focused on growing and connecting, and how our community really is bonded by agriculture and growing, and just so many fantastic things happening. It makes me so happy. It's like reason number 7,602 of why I love Wheat Ridge. And I just have to also say thank you to YY and Karen and Brandon and Susan and everyone who met Narissa with Chill Indigenous Foods, and you all developed your relationship and are going with that now. And I'm so happy about that. I get to work with her in another capacity, managing the kitchen, a commercial kitchen here in Wheat Ridge that we're soon to open. But I think that piece is very, very important, and the knowledge that she brings also is huge. And so I love that combination. And so I just sincere thanks, and I'm so excited and proud. So thank you.
Thank you. I want to offer my thanks both to you all for coming tonight and telling us about this project and the work you do in it. It's springtime on the Front Range. You know, we got some good rain the other day, and I'm looking at my garden and all the things that are growing in there that I need to sort of start tending to. So there's a lot of gardeners in our city, and a lot of energy around creating great spaces and great things to do. So thank you very much for bringing this to us tonight. We appreciate it.
Could we add a couple things? Would you mind? Sorry. I just wanted to say I'd be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge Susan Bennett. I know Councilmember Snell just mentioned her. She takes care of our bees, but also participates in a lot of the Regenerate Wheat Ridge programs. She does a lot at Happiness Gardens, so she's not here this evening, but I wanted to acknowledge that on top of these two amazing folks. But I know YY asked if she could say something else.
Absolutely.
I'll just wrap it up really quick. Yeah. Also echoing what Karen said, Susan's amazing. She's the environmental interpreter. She takes education and teaching about the bitty bugs, which is our next Regenerate Wheat Ridge, shameless plug, to another level. What I wanted to say is that this job really affords me the opportunity to speak with other gardeners in other communities. And what I always receive from other places is that Wheat Ridge is just ahead of its time. I know when we talk about agriculture and playing in the dirt, it seems like something that is rudimentary or simple or taking us back in time. But where we are at this apex moment in our climate change and food insecurity and affordable housing and everything else that's going off, the Richters getting back and putting the hands in the dirt and being with each other is all that really matters. And it is innovative. So thank you for the space and time, and I appreciate your acknowledgements.
Okay. Thank you very much. Great presentation. We really appreciate it. So thanks for coming out. Okay, that concludes our one study item. But item number 2 is staff reports. Mr. Goff.
Nothing else from staff.
Nothing tonight? Okay, we'll give the elected officials one more round. Anybody taking another round, or we're going to, I think everybody's got everything said they needed said. So thank you all for joining us. We will be back here 2 weeks from tonight. Next week is the 5th Monday, so we will not be here. So is that truly correct? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Then with that, we will see you in 2 weeks. Be careful as you drive around our city. We have lots of great things going on. So thank you all. We will stand adjourned.